Listen, if you're someone who's new to WWE and you're trying to get back into wrestling, then this video is for you. And even if you're not and you just need a refresher of every storyline that's currently happening, today we're going to talk about every current storyline on WWE's Friday Night Smackdown. Now let's get into it. Look, you're already here. Hit that subscribe button. All right, so I literally went on the WWE website and looked at the roster for Friday Night Smackdown. So we're going to go at this down the line in no particular order, just in the order that the superstars came up and who they're feuding against. So first off, we have Alba Fire and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green is our current U.S. champion, and Alba Fire is part of her stable of the Secret Harvest, along with Piper Niven, who is currently out injured. I don't know what the deal is with that, so it's currently just Alba Fire and Chelsea Green as a tag team, as a stable. They're currently feuding with Julia and Kiana James, who are also, they have a partnership. Kiana James is Julia's advocate. The main feud here is between Chelsea Green, who is the current U.S. champion, and Julia, who is the most recent U.S. champion. Julia is trying to get her championship back from Chelsea Green. They've had multiple matches between the four of them. Like there was a match between Alba Fire and Julia where Alba Fire just got squashed by Julia. There was a tag team match between Alba Fire and Chelsea Green versus Julia and Kiana James. Julia pinned Chelsea Green in that match, in that tag team match. So I'm assuming that the next match on the books will be a title match for that women's US championship, and we'll see who takes it. But that's the current feud happening between these four. And next we have Aleister Black, who has aligned himself with his real life wife, Zelina Vega. So they're together in this feud against Damian Priest. This is a feud that will never end. This is a feud that has gone on for way too long. I don't think anyone is happy with this feud. I don't think anyone's excited with this feud. There's an ambulance match happening on this next episode of SmackDown, this upcoming episode of SmackDown. So hopefully that ends the feud. But currently, yeah, it's Aleister Black against Damian Priest and this never-ending feud. But currently, yeah, it's Aleister Black and Damian Priest and this never-ending feud that I think we all just want to be done with already. So hopefully this ambulance match is what ends it. I don't care who wins. I don't think anyone cares who wins. We just need it to be over. They've had a mixed tag team match with Aleister Black and his wife Zelina Vega, and Damian Priest recruited Rhea Ripley. I think that was an attempt to make this feud more interesting, but mission failed. I don't think we cared even a little bit more. And to end it all off, the person who got the pin in that match was Rhea Ripley, so it didn't really solve anything. But that's that feud, and I think we're all over it. Also, let's not forget that this entire feud happened because Aleister Black showed up, and I think he had a match against R-Truth, or maybe he just attacked him backstage a couple times, and Damian Priest went to go defend R-Truth, and that's how this whole feud started and has continued. And R-Truth is out doing his own thing now, not being a part of this at all. He's kind of just hanging out, being the funny guy backstage. Really funny guy backstage. We love R-Truth. But yeah, this is what we were left with. This is what we were left with out of that. So I think we blame R-Truth. Jade Cargill is our current WWE champion. She is in a filler feud, I guess we can call it, because no one thinks that the people that she's feuding with are going to beat her for a championship. She's currently feuding with B-Fab and Michin. I don't even know how this feud started. I think she gave them a dirty look backstage, and then Jade Cargill had a match with B-Fab, and she just absolutely destroyed her, just like complete squash match, like not even a threat. She then was supposed to have a match with Michin, but she attacked her before the match, and then Michin came back out to attack Jade with a kendo stick. They got into a brawl, like ringside and in the ring. I don't know if it was an official match, but like Jade still like got a visual pin on Michin. It was weird, and they're still feuding. But like I said, this is a filler feud. I don't think anyone is interested or cares or believes that Michin is going to win the championship at any point during this feud. I think Jade Cargill, again, is just keeping herself busy until WrestleMania when Bianca Belair comes back and we have that feud kick off leading up to a WrestleMania match, which I think is what we all want to see. So we have the Wyatt Six, who Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis are the current WWE Tag Team Champions. They're feuding with the MFTs as a stable. Both stables are feuding against each other. So the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. Specifically, JC Mateo and Tonga Loa are feuding with the current tag team champions to try to get those titles over to the MFTs. But again, as a faction, they're both feuding. Also, Uncle Howdy and Solo Sikoa have had a lot of interactions with each other. I feel like this is all also going to end in a one-on-one match between Solo and Uncle Howdy, which great. I love that. I want to see that. Let's make it happen, WWE. I don't quite remember how this feud started. I think the MFTs came back. They attacked some people. I don't even remember who they attacked. Maybe it was Sami Zayn, I think. Yeah, I think it was when Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rey Fenix were like in a match, and then the MFT showed up. They attacked them. So then the Wyatt Six stepped in and saved the day. This has been a fun feud as far as I'm concerned. I do think that this ends with the MFTs winning those tag team champions and those tag team championships, and I'm totally okay with that. This is a fun feud, but I think it's coming to an end, and that's a good thing. We also have The Miz feuding with Joe Hendry, who I think is an NXT star still. Joe Hendry is. So he's had a match with Joe Hendry last week in this most recent episode of Friday Night Smackdown, where he lost. He also had an interaction with Joe Henry at that Saturday night's main event, that John Cena's retirement match show, where Joe Henry basically just beat him up. There was that storyline of him switching his name out of the tumble balls to see who was part of the tournament with Joe Henry's name. So he switched his name in and took Joe Henry's name out, which is how this whole feud thing started. I'm not sure if this feud is continuing because, like I said, Joe Henry is on NXT. The Miz is also in a kind of feud with Carmelo Hayes. Like, they were a tag team at one point. They were called Melo Don't Miz, and they broke up. They attacked each other a few times, and then they just kind of forgot about each other. They still bring it up every once in a while, like especially when the Miz is talking to Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis brings up like, "Oh, are you still looking for that match with Carmelo Hayes?" And the Miz is like, "Yes, but not yet." So I don't know if this is something that they're planning on revisiting. I feel like this is going to be another one of those things that WWE just forgets. But we're considering it still kind of a feud. But it even gets more complicated because now Carmelo Hayes is the U.S. champion. So I don't know. Like I mentioned, Carmelo Hayes is the new U.S. champion. He just won that last week on SmackDown. He beat Ilya Dragunov for that title in one of those U.S. title open challenges. I don't know if that's something that Carmelo Hayes is going to continue, but if he doesn't, that's fine. He has a lot of people kind of waiting to get their title shot as well. So after he beat Ilya Dragunov for that title, he was then immediately attacked. Not immediately, but he went backstage, and then he was later attacked by Johnny Gargano, who is part of DIY with Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa had been feuding for this title for a while. He had been trying to get a title shot, finally got his title shot against Ilya Dragunov. He lost. So he had been the person that was kind of in the forefront for the U.S. title out of this tag team. But like I said, Johnny Gargano was the person that attacked Tommaso Ciampa, so that's interesting. I don't know where they're going there. There was also Tama Tonga. I get them confused with Tonga Loa by name. Tama Tonga. Yes, Tama Tonga was also a part of this U.S. title scene where he was kind of just like lurking backstage, watching Ilya Dragunov. Every once in a while, they had a face-to-face and they had an interaction, exchanged words. I mean, listen, Tama Tonga just went, yeah, 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 or whatever, however he does his thing. But anyway, he's part of this title picture. So it's kind of a really packed U.S. title picture, which is really interesting. And then, like I said, I don't know if The Miz is a part of this as well, since he has a kind of feud with Carmelo Hayes. So I guess currently feuding for the U.S. title is Carmelo Hayes as the champion. Ilya Dragunov will probably want a rematch at some point. We have Johnny Gargano, who attacked Carmelo Hayes. Tommaso Ciampa, who had been wanting a title shot for the U.S. title. Tama Tonga, who had been lurking in the back of the U.S. title scene, and kind of The Miz, who has unfinished business with Carmelo Hayes. So, 6-man ladder match? Hell yeah, let's do it. I don't know, but that seems a little complicated, but I'm into it. Let's build that title up. They're doing a really good job building this US title up, so I'm into it. Speaking of DIY, Fraxium is also kind of in a feud with them, but as a tag team. So Fraxium had mentioned to Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov a few weeks back when they had a tag team match against DIY, like, hey, make sure to leave some for us because we're still waiting for them. So they're kind of feuding with DIY. Also, Candice LeRae's just kind of hanging out with DIY, so I don't know what her role is there, but she's part of DIY. But yeah, Fraxium is having a feud with DIY, sort of, as DIY also feuds for the US side. Like, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. I feel like, again, it's a filler feud until this MFTs and Wyatt Six thing finishes and we have a decisive tag team champion so that one of these two tag teams, probably Fraxium, can challenge for those titles. So yeah, it's a filler feud and it's a little complicated when you get into the US title picture as well, but it's been fun. So I'm not hating on it. Speaking of complicated, we have the women's tag team title picture. This goes across brands. So we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They were the previous women's tag team champions. They lost it to the Kabuki Warriors, which are Kairi Sane and Asuka. They're the current tag team champions. Lash Legend and Nia Jax feel like they are entitled to a title shot. And honestly, they beat the Kabuki Warriors in a non-title match a few weeks back as well. So yeah, they do have claim to a title shot. Absolutely. You also have Rhea Ripley and Io Sky who have a title shot on the first Raw of the year on January 5th against the Kabuki Warriors. So they're a part of this whole picture. You also have Bayley and Lyra Valkyria who had been a part of this scene. Then we forgot that they were a part of the scene. And then in this most recent episode of Raw, they went to Adam Pearce and they were like, hey, we want a title shot. Like, we deserve a title shot. So they're a part of this as well. Also, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez are also a part of this whole scene. A lot of these women were involved in Survivor Series War Games, specifically Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, the Kabuki Warriors, and Lash Legend, and Nia Jax. They were involved in Survivor Series War Games. Those 8 women will have a match on this upcoming episode of Friday Night Smackdown, the first Smackdown of the year. Not for a title, obviously, because again, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky have a title shot on Monday. I feel like that title shot on Monday is going to get interrupted and it's going to end in a no contest, and we're going to get a big title match involving all these women. Hopefully, at the Royal Rumble. That's where I want to see it. I want to see it at the Royal Rumble now, and I still want all of these women to be a part of the Rumble. I had been kind of playing in my own head the scenario of like, oh man, if they have this match, then they won't be in the Rumble. But why not? Who cares? There's been plenty of people that have matches at the Rumble and then are still in the Rumble later on that day. So I want them to be a part of the Rumble, and I also want them to have this match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. And finally, we have Cody Rhodes, who is our undisputed champion. He is also in a never-ending feud with Drew McIntyre. I cannot for the life of me remember how this started. There was an incident with Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. They're going to face off for the number 1 contendership. Jacob Fatu was attacked backstage. They assumed it was Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes assumed it was Drew McIntyre. He came out and attacked Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was like, dude, it wasn't me. But that wasn't the beginning of this feud. I feel like Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre had been feuding for a while, and I don't know why. But they're in a never-ending feud. They have a match scheduled already whenever WWE goes to Berlin in a couple weeks. They have a 3 stages of hell match between the two of them. We don't know what those 3 stages are yet, but yeah, let's do it. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm really excited for this match. Hopefully this also ends the feud. And I hope that Cody Rhodes loses. But this is a really fun match. This is a really fun match in a not so fun feud. Like I said, this feud has been going on forever. We're all kind of over it. I don't know anyone who's excited for the feud, but I am excited for this match. It's going to be a great match, and I feel like shenanigans are going to happen. I feel like someone will come back, whether it's Jacob Fatu or Randy Orton, but I feel like it's definitely shenanigans happening, and I'm in for it, and I hope that this ends this feud forever. So there you have it. That's every feud that is currently happening on Friday Night Smackdown. Now, Friday Night Smackdown is expanding to 3 hours in the beginning of the year. So hopefully we will have some added superstars, some added storylines, something to help this episode, to help this show be an easier watch week by week. Because if I'm being perfectly honest with you, if you're new to this whole wrestling thing, SmackDown is it's a tough watch sometimes. So I hope that with the expansion of 3 hours come more superstars, more storylines, and an easier watch for all of us. Again, this is just every major story that's happening on SmackDown, every story that involves other people, that involves the title, that involves, a wrestling match. Because R-Truth is also part of this roster, and he's just kind of there. So, like, he doesn't have a story, but he's there every week. So, it didn't feel right to, like, involve him in the storylines, but it also didn't feel right leaving him out. So, yeah, R-Truth, he's just kind of there. But anyway, let me know in the comments if there's anything you think I missed. Let me know in the comments if you're new to wrestling and you're like, yeah, 2026 is the year I want to get into wrestling. And it's right before Rumble season, so perfect timing, my friend. Also, if you're not new to wrestling, just a quick reminder of what's happening as we lead into WrestleMania season, right? Because January comes Royal Rumble, and after the Royal Rumble, we're in WrestleMania season, baby. So, anyway, since you made it this far, make sure to drop a like. Listen, if you're already here, might as well subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. I'm sure you'll have some fun with them. If you don't have a wrestling guy, let me be your wrestling guy on YouTube. Anyway, though, as always, until next time, have a nice day.